Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to quickly make an updated guide on the Twisting Blades build I uploaded last week. I know I said I was going to stay away from Twisting Blades after that video, but there were some things that I overlooked in the build. And if you are sick of Twisting Blades and haven't already, I highly recommend you check out the Flurry Rain of Arrows build I uploaded a few days ago. But while I work on some other builds, I wanted to make a proper updated guide for tier 100s featuring the uber unique Doombringer. If you just want to see the build, there will be timestamps to skip to the guide part, but first I wanted to talk about what I overlooked. So first, I want to mention the bug with Tibalts and combo points. I didn't realize until after I uploaded the video that it was bugged with Condemnation. The primary resource from Tibalts adds to the max amount of combo points, so instead of giving you just 3 points like normal, it can go up to, I believe it's 23, and pairing that with Condemnation filling all 23 points at once leads to some ridiculous damage. So in this guide, I'm going to avoid using that bug. However, for bosses, nothing will outclass it on rogues, and as of this recording, they haven't patched it or mentioned any fix that I know of. Secondly, I kind of messed up with the stat priority. To be honest, I didn't look over all the patch notes, so I missed some very important changes, which that is my bad, with close quarters and the no witnesses note. Anyways, let's get into the updated T100 build for Twisting Blades. As normal, we'll go over the skill tree, skills, gear, Paragon Boards, and the Vampiric Powers. Starting off with the skills, I'm using Shadow Step, Dash, Twisting Blades, Smoke Grenade, Shadow Clone, and Puncture. I swapped out Shadow Imbue for Smoke Grenade as it's a nice damage stem and gives you a safe engage if you're dealing with a large pack of elites. But Smoke Grenade can be swapped out for any imbuement skill if you want to. Shadow Clone is mainly for bosses to help with the damage, but it's also super useful dealing with multiple elites. Shadow Step can also be swapped out to your liking, but I do enjoy having the extra mobility, so I prefer to use it. So usually I do this part in the D4 builds, but I wanted to do it in-game just so you could see what the bonus is that I currently have. Now, I don't have any damage to crowd control rolled on any of my gear right now, so I am missing on a bunch of damage because of that with this node. But with that out of the way, we go from Puncture to Fundamental Puncture, max out Twisting Blades. With Advanced Twisting Blades, you can also go for Improved Twisting Blades to get some more stagger meter on bosses. Moving on, 3 into Sturdy, 3 into Stutter Step. You don't need Siphoning Strikes with the Undying Vampiric Power. Only 1 into Shadow Step with Discipline Shadow Step, just so you can have that up more often. 3 into Weapon Mastery, 3 into Rugged. Go ahead and pick up Dash with Methodical Dash. Then I maxed out Smoke Grenade because I'm not using any imbuement, but countering Smoke Grenade just so we can have that up more often. Then moving on, 3 into Frigid Finesse. Oh, well, 3 into Exploit and 3 into Malice and 3 into Frigid Finesse. Go ahead and pick up all his Shadow Clone, 3 into Innervation as this is our main form of energy sustain. And then Second Wind for some more lucky hit. Then 1 into Adrenaline, 3 into Haste, and finally we wrap it up with Close Quarters. Next up, we have our gear. I did mention briefly in the skill tree section that my gear is by no means optimal. I'm missing a ton of stat rolls on my weapons and armor, so with an optimal setup you would have a decent amount more damage and be a bit more tanky. So I'll show you what I was using in the gameplay and talk about what you should prioritize. Starting off with the helmet, go for armor, cooldown reduction, and 2 resistance rolls with the aspect cheats. For the chest plate, you want armor, damage reduction, and 2 more resistance rolls with the aspect disobedience. For the gloves, you want to get ranks to Twisting Blades, crit chance, lucky hit chance, and the third roll either life on lucky hit or attack speed. Attack speed would be better if you're doing content other than tier 100s. As for the aspect, I went with Mangler's aspect. You don't need Manglers at all for this build, and you could go for Edge Masters or another aspect of your liking, but having some extra crowd control and being able to stagger the boss faster just felt nice in tier 100s. For the pants, I decided to go with Temerity. Temerity paired with Doombringer and the Undying Vampiric Power gives you a ridiculous amount of sustain and makes you an absolute tank. Very rarely have I dived into a pack of elites in tier 100s and died. As for the boots, I'm going with Penitent Greaves to apply with Chill and to get our crowd control damage bonuses. Next, we have the weapons. On the crossbow, you want to get all stat, dex, damage to crowd controlled, and either damage to close or damage with core skills, with the aspect Blade Dancers. For the melee weapons, ideally you'd want to have a dagger with all stat, dex, damage to crowd controlled, and either damage to close or core skill damage. I was using a sword in the gameplay, but a dagger will give you more attack speed and feel better overall. And for the other hand, I am using Doombringer. Not only does this give you 40% max life, which makes you super tanky, but it also, on lucky hit, applies a 20% damage debuff to nearby enemies with some extra shadow damage in there too. But as Doombringer is an uber unique and may take you a few tries at Drill to get it, I would recommend either using Condemnation or Shira's. Condemnation would give you some more damage, maxing out your combo points, and that 40% multi to having 3 combo points, and Ashira's would feel really good with that extra attack speed that it provides. And lastly, the jewelry. For the amulet, I'm using Banished Lord's Talisman, which gives you ranks to all your core skills, crit chance, and helps with your energy sustain with the resource regen it provides. But also with the unique effect, it does allow you to hit some huge overpower crits, and after spending 300 energy, your next core skill attack is a guaranteed overpower. As for the rings, on both you want to get crit chance, life, lucky hit chance, and damage to crowd controlled, with the aspects expectant and conceited, with some extra damage while building combo points and while you have the barrier up from temerity. And for the gem sockets, you want to get rubies for your armor, emeralds for your weapons, and for your jewelry, balance out your resistances here. If you get good rolls on your gear for your resistances, you should be able to cap all 5 of them with this setup. I'm just shy of fire res just because of some low rolls. Next up is this season's mechanic, the Vampiric Powers. First is Metamorphosis for the 4-second unstoppable after evading, and it turns the evade into a mini dash, which is pretty cool. Next we have Moonrise and Ravenous for the attack speed bonuses. Having both of them gives us around 100% extra attack speed. Prey on the Weak for some extra damage to vulnerable. And lastly we have Undying for the absolute insane life regen it gives, and it keeps the barrier from temerity up. And lastly we have the Paragon Boards. So if you did watch last build guide, you'll see that there are some changes here. First thing I want to talk about is the No Witnesses node. Last build guide I said to go into this, and after actually reading it, I've realized that it's not doing anything for us. We're not going for any ultimate skill damage rolls on our gear or with any gems, so we were getting pretty much no bonus from it. Other than that, we did get rid of an entire board here to go into some more rare and magic nodes across the board to get some more survivability and damage. So with the glyphs, we're picking up Closer, Exploit, Turf, Control, and Combat. As for the legendary nodes, we're just getting Tricks of the Trade and Cheap Shot. And that pretty much sums up the boards. There will be the link for the D4 builds in the description below, so you can follow this, the stat, priority, the skill tree, and gear. And that sums up this updated build guide for Tier 100 Twisting Blades. Hope you guys enjoyed this update. I wanted to get out to you while I was farming for gear and items for some other builds I'm working on. So if you enjoyed this build guide and want to see more, leave this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss out. If you have any questions on the build or what builds you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comments below. That's all for today. Remember to have fun and take care.